Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. But on Fridays, we are going to be doing taxpayer horror stories. This is every Friday. I'm going to be going through cases that catch my eye so you can see what is going on in these tax streets. One of the things that I get a lot, which is it's I have to laugh. It's not funny, but I have to laugh because every now and again I get people who reach out to me, whether through my social media channels, saying to me, "Well, there's no way that the government is going to catch me doing X, Y, Z. There's no way the government is going to trace cash. There's no way the government is going to trace cryptocurrency and stuff." So on Fridays, I'm going to be sharing these cases with you to let you know the IRS ain't playing with you, okay? And the thing that you have to understand when it comes down to the IRS and these types of criminal convictions, there is no statutes of limitation on fraud, okay? Zero. So, where you hear that, the IRS has 3 years to audit your return. Okay, in a sense, that is true. However, in the event there is fraud, there is no statute of limitations. And so when people talk about, ask me, how long should I keep my tax documents? This is why I say forever. Because in the event that this does happen to you in some way, shape, or form, the only way that you are going to be able to prove yourself is if you have the documents available. But that ain't nothing for criminals, though. Okay. So we're going to be talking about this attorney today out of Massachusetts. This is former attorney Daniel P. Gibson. He was convicted of filing false returns and for conspiring with his accountant to defraud the IRS. So I'm going to stop right here. This is why, as tax professionals, if you've got someone coming to you telling you that they want you to help them hide money, that is a red flag to run in the opposite direction, okay? Now, there is a difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance. Tax avoidance is legal, tax evasion is not. Tax avoidance is when you use things like legal tax shelters, okay, to reduce the amount of tax that you owe versus you just hide money from the government and you ain't paying no taxes whatsoever. That's what tax evasion is, and that's what's illegal. So what he did is he conspired with his accountant to prepare and file false tax returns for tax years, you ready? 2005, 2006, 2008, 2009, that intentionally underreported some $3.7 million in income. What is it right now? 2019. And he started this mess in 2005. Now, what you need to catch with this is 2005. Do you know what kind of penalties and interest will rack up over 14 years? That's bananas, okay? But he's okay, and so 3.7 million in income, and as a result, he avoided more than $875,000 in taxes. He is not going to be sentenced until next month in September, but filing false tax returns carries a maximum of 3 years in prison, a year of supervised release, and a fine of $100,000 per count. That's the maximum. Doesn't mean he'll get that. We'll see what happens. As well as restitution. Conspiracy to defraud the IRS provides a maximum of 5 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a fine of $250,000 or twice the gross gain or loss, whichever is greater. Okay. So since this here 875,000, they can they can double that. Okay. So now, even though this person, whether they go to prison or not, if they go to prison, that 875,000 plus penalties and interest is gonna be waiting when they get out. Okay. So, there's also another case I wanted to go through, you guys, but we'll be here all day talking about cases because this stuff is crazy. But but also with this case, this accountant, it doesn't say he was a CPA. There's a difference. There are accountants have accounting degrees. CPAs have gone through tragic testing and have survived and are certified public accountants. That's the difference. But regardless, this person is not going to be able to practice because they have defrauded the government. Like, this is something that you just don't do. As tax professionals, as accounting professionals, you have a fiduciary responsibility not only to your client but to also follow the law. So this is why I do not entertain conversations. I do not entertain clients that want to underreport their income, that want to hide money from the government and all that. No, you're not putting Lysandra's name on that. And if you value your profession, you won't do that either. Okay. Because because you think about it, here it is, it's 2019. They probably thought they got away with this since it started in 2005, right? They hadn't heard anything, I mean, this case has been going on for a few years, but you think about that, 2005, and let's say, I want to say this case may have started in about 2015, I think, but still, that's 10 years from the first time you did something. A whole entire decade has gone past, and now you're going to be having to pay for these sins because now it's come to light. Now, the one thing about these cases that I kind of like, but I kind of don't like, is they don't tell you how folks get caught. And you know why? Because they don't want you to go and work around that. But really, if you just follow the law, you don't have anything to worry about. Does that mean that something won't happen and somebody might, say, try to throw you under the bus and say, okay, hey, I know Lysandra hasn't been filing her taxes, right? And so then that might cause someone to investigate me. But as long as I got my tax returns, I don't care about no IRS transcripts. As long as I have that and shows that my returns were filed, I'm cool. So that's why you need to keep all of your documentations to be able to prove that, hey, yes, I have done this. This is all of my documentation. And that's the thing about tax returns. They tell the truth. You either claim the income or you didn't. You either filed the return or you didn't. It is very simple, very black and white. Now, when it comes down to other things like proving negligence or willfulness, those things can get a little bit more convoluted. But the fact of, whether or not you filed, the tax returns are black and white. Okay. And so this is why I remind you that the IRS, they might be slow, but they're not stupid. And that's why, there's no statute of limitations on fraud, because these things take time. You got to go and, trace the money and all that. That stuff takes time, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. And so this is why I warn people who are dealing with cash, who are dealing with cryptocurrency and all of that, that think, oh, well, this is untraceable. The IRS isn't going to catch me. That is not true, simply because those aren't the only avenues that the IRS uses. They look at your social media. They look at your credit reports. They're sitting there like, how are you living in this, $1.5 million house, but you don't pay any taxes? There's something there. Right? Or you might be filing taxes and all of a sudden you stop filing taxes and the IRS goes, that's interesting. Or it can be it can be a whistleblower, right? There is a whistleblower program. It is a program because people use it, right? And so with the whistleblower program, if someone turns you in to the IRS and the IRS recovers, this tax money, the whistleblower gets a cut. Okay? So there are plenty of ways to get caught, but the thing that I don't want you to do is be lulled into this false sense of security that if they haven't caught me by now, they won't catch me. That is not the truth. Okay. So, I urge you to follow the law. I don't care how you feel about taxation. Taxation has been around since biblical days, and taxation is not going anywhere. And, people have been getting caught evading taxes and all other stuff and committing financial crimes. They're still crimes. Trying to hide money overseas, all of those things are criminal activities. And it might take the IRS a minute, their criminal investigation. It might take them a minute. Oh, but when they find you, they coming, because they're not going to bring a case unless they're pretty sure that they're going to win. And I want to say that their win rate is about 92% was the last I checked. So it's pretty high. All right. So listen, that is it for today's episode of Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.